Hey there, Iron Warriors. Ever wondered if you're killing yourself at the gym for nothing? What if I told you that your monster workout might actually be holding you back? That's right, best steel muscles fam. Today we're flipping everything you thought you knew about training volume on its head. You know that frustration when you're giving it your all in the gym, doing 1,000,000 sets per muscle, but the mirror seems to be trolling you? Well, you're not alone. We've always heard more is better, right? But what if everyone's got it wrong? In this video, I'm going to show you why the recommendations for muscle growth volume might be sabotaging your gains. I'll reveal what the latest science is saying about this and how you can use this knowledge to finally unlock your gains. Listen up, by the end of this chat, you'll have the tools to revolutionize your workout and make your muscles grow for real. So, are you ready to question everything you've learned so far? Come with me, because we're keeping it real and the knowledge is heavy. Let's get serious about this training volume story. For decades, we've been hearing the same old tune. Want to get big? Then train more. It's like there's an unofficial competition of who can handle more sets, more reps, more everything. You've probably seen those bodybuilding magazines, right? Full of crazy routines promising to turn you into a superhero in a matter of weeks. And it doesn't stop there. The internet is full of jacked influencers swearing up and down that the secret is to train until you can't even lift your fork to eat. But hold up, if everyone's doing this, why are so many people frustrated with their results? That's where it gets interesting. This obsession with volume has a history. Back in the 70s and 80s, when bodybuilding exploded, guys started training like maniacs. And it worked for them. But they forgot to mention one important detail. Many of these guys had killer genetics and, well, let's say they had a little extra help, if you know what I mean. So what happened? Everyone thought they just had to copy the champ's workouts to get huge, but that's not how it works. The worst part is that this more is better mindset spread like wildfire. These days you've got people doing 30, 40 sets per muscle group in a single session. That's crazy, folks. The human body wasn't made to handle that kind of beating every day. It's like trying to drive your car on the highway with the engine always redlined. Eventually it's gonna break down, right? Well, your body's the same way. But you know what the bigger problem is? We're so addicted to this idea of training till we drop that when someone suggests doing less, it sounds like heresy. It's like you're betraying the iron gods. But folks, it's time to open our eyes. Science is here for that. In recent years, a bunch of new studies are showing that the more the better story might be a big flop. And that's what we're gonna uncover now. So get ready, because you might discover that you're putting in too much effort for too little results. And who knows, with the right information, you might finally unlock your gains once and for all. Alright, let's dive deep into the science of muscle growth, because that's where the magic happens. First off, forget that simplistic tear and rebuild story. The deal is way more complex and fascinating than that. When you lift that weight, what's going down in your muscles is a real molecular party. Your muscle fibers do suffer micro tears, that's true, but that's just the beginning of the story. What really matters is the cascade of events that comes after. Your body goes into a frenzied fix this now mode. Imagine an army of tiny builders invading your muscles, carrying proteins and other nutrients to rebuild everything bigger and stronger. This whole process has a fancy name: muscle protein synthesis. It's like your body saying, whoa, that weight was too heavy. We better prepare for next time by making these muscles stronger. But here's the kicker. This process doesn't happen during your workout. In fact, it's exactly when you're resting that the magic happens. Surprising, huh? Your muscle growth depends way more on your rest than on the time you spend pumping iron. Now there's another crucial factor in this equation: hormonal balance. When you work out, your body releases a bunch of anabolic hormones, like testosterone and growth hormone. These guys are like fertilizer for your muscles. But watch out, if you overdo it in training, it can backfire. Training too much can increase cortisol, the famous stress hormone, which is basically kryptonite for your gains. It can sabotage the whole muscle building process, and it doesn't stop there. There's also the factor of anabolic sensitivity. Each time you train a muscle, it becomes more sensitive to growth stimuli. But this has a limit. It's like poking a bear with a short stick. The first few times it reacts, but if you insist too much, it might just ignore you. Or worse. Your muscles work kind of like that. If you stimulate them too much, they stop responding as they should. That's why sometimes less can be more. The key is finding the sweet spot between enough stimulus and adequate recovery. It's a delicate balance, almost an art. And the craziest part? This optimal point varies from person to person. Your genetics, your diet, your sleep, your stress level, all of this influences how much training your body can handle before saying enough, buddy. So next time you're planning to massacre your muscles with 50 sets, remember, your gains don't happen in the gym. They happen when you're at home, chilling on the couch, giving your body time to work its magic. That's why understanding this science can be a game changer in your training. It's not about training more, it's about training smarter. Let's talk about these volume recommendations that everyone follows like they're the word of God. It's time to push back on these ideas, folks. The problem is that these guidelines are like a one-size-fits-all recipe for building muscle mass, but they forgot to mention that not everyone has the same oven. Think about it. You've seen those tables that say, do 20 sets per muscle group per week, right? Looks great on paper, but in real life, that's a whole different story. First off, this approach completely ignores that each of us is unique. Your genetics, your training history, even the stress of your daily life, all of this influences how your body responds to training. It's like they're giving you a one-size-fits-all shoe and expecting it to fit everyone. That doesn't work, does it? Another issue with these recommendations is that they often don't take into account your experience level. A beginner and a guy who's been lifting for years can't train the same way. It's like putting a kid who just learned to ride a bike in the Tour de France. It doesn't make sense. But the worst part? These recommendations can lead you straight to overtraining. You know that feeling of always being tired, of having lost the passion for training, of not seeing results anymore? Well, welcome to the I Train Too Much Club. Overtraining is no joke, folks. It can sabotage your gains, increase the risk of injuries, and even affect your mental health. It's like your body's screaming enough, and you keep pushing because the table said so. There's more. This fixation on volume often makes us forget about the quality of the workout. It's no use doing 30 half-ass sets. It's better to do 10 sets with total focus, load progression, and perfect technique. Quantity isn't synonymous with quality, and your body knows the difference very well. And then there's the recovery issue. These high-volume recommendations rarely give due importance to rest. Remember we said that muscle growth happens outside the gym? So, if you're always training like crazy, when is your body going to have time to grow? It's like planting a seed and digging up the soil every day to see if it's growing. It doesn't work like that. Another thing that drives me crazy is how these recommendations ignore the individuality of recovery. Some people recover quickly, others need more time. Factors like age, nutrition, sleep quality, all of this affects your ability to recover. But the tables treat everyone as if they were identical machines. Finally, there's the psychological factor. This pressure to always do more can be a huge mental burden. You end up feeling guilty if you can't hit that magic number of sets. This can suck all the joy out of training, turning something that should be enjoyable into a stressful obligation. In the end, these generic high-volume recommendations might be holding you back. They can make you spin in circles, always doing more, but not necessarily progressing. It's time to open your eyes and realize that when it comes to training, more isn't always better. The secret is in training smarter, not necessarily more. All right, folks, let's talk about what science is discovering new in this training world. In recent years, there's been a silent revolution in studies on hypertrophy, and what they're finding is turning upside down a lot of what we thought we knew. First, there's a bombshell study that dropped like a bomb in the fitness world. Some researchers took a bunch of guys experienced in weightlifting and divided them into groups with different training volumes. Guess what? The folks who did fewer sets per week had results just as good as those who did double or even triple. Can you believe it? This threw a bucket of cold water on that idea that more is always better. But wait, there's more. Another study took a group of people and had them train only 3 times a week with few sets but with maximum intensity. The result? Impressive muscle gains. This showed that the quality of effort can be more important than quantity. It's like that story of working smart, not hard, but applied to bodybuilding. Now, there's research that's making everyone rethink training frequency. They discovered that training a muscle more times in the week but with less volume per session can be more efficient than massacring the muscle just once. It's like it's better to give several smaller stimuli than one huge stimulus at once. Makes sense, right? Your body prefers gradual adaptations to sudden shocks. Another interesting thing they're discovering is about the so-called minimum effective volume. It's basically the minimum you need to do to get results. And guess what? For many people, this minimum is much lower than previously thought. This means you can manage to grow by doing less than you're doing now. Just imagine how much time you can save. But attention. This doesn't mean that doing the minimum is ideal for everyone. Science is showing that there's an optimal volume range and it varies from person to person. The trick is to find your sweet spot. There's also some cool research on the importance of load progression. They show that gradually increasing the weight over time is more crucial for muscle growth than simply doing more sets. It's like your body responds better to progressive challenges than to a lot of repetitive work. And you can't talk about new studies without mentioning the recovery thing. They're discovering that we seriously underestimated the importance of rest. There are studies showing that strategic periods of deload or even complete pause can accelerate your long-term gains. It's kind of counterintuitive, but sometimes you need to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Finally, there's a super exciting area of research about how different types of muscle fibers respond to training. They're seeing that muscles with more fast twitch fibers can benefit from lower volumes and higher intensities, while others might need more volume. This explains why some people respond better to certain types of training than others. In the end, what all these studies are showing is that there's no magic formula that works for everyone. The key is in individualization. It's about understanding your body, experimenting with different approaches, and finding what works best for you. The era of one-size-fits-all in bodybuilding is being left behind. Now it's the turn of personalized training based on science and adapted to your unique needs. And that, my friends, is excellent news for those who want to maximize their gains without spending their whole life in the gym. Alright folks, it's time for the truth. Let's talk about how to put all this information into practice and optimize your workout to grow like crazy. The first thing you need to understand is that there's no silver bullet. What works for your training buddy might not be ideal for you, so let's start with the basics. Focus on the quality of each set. Forget about doing 20 half-ass sets. It's better to do 5 sets with everything you've got. Every rep counts. Control the movement, feel the muscle working. It's better to do 8 perfect reps than 15 sloppy ones. Now let's talk about progression. Your body is smart, it adapts quickly. That's why you need to always be challenging it. Every week, try to increase the weight a little, even if it's just a pound. If you can't increase the weight, add a rep or 2. The key is to never stagnate. Remember that talk about frequency? Well, instead of destroying a muscle once a week, how about dividing that volume into 2 or 3 sessions? For example, instead of doing 20 chest sets on a Monday, do 7 on Monday, 7 on Thursday, and 6 on Saturday. Your body will thank you, and you'll see that recovery gets much better. Speaking of recovery, pay attention to it. Your growth happens outside the gym, remember? So, sleep well, eat right, manage your stress. Sometimes taking an extra rest day can be more productive than cramming another workout into your week. And don't be afraid to deload once in a while. A lighter week every 6 to 8 weeks can do wonders for your long-term progress. Another golden tip, vary your stimuli. Your body likes novelty. Change the angle of exercises, play with time under tension, try different techniques like drop sets or rest pause. But don't go overboard with variations. The idea is to challenge the muscle, not confuse it. Now, one thing many people forget, record everything. Write down the weights, the reps, how you felt. Over time, you'll have a map of what works best for you. It's with this data that you'll be able to adjust your workout intelligently. And speaking of smart, don't ignore compound exercises. Bench press, squat, deadlift. These movements recruit a lot of muscle mass and are great for stimulating overall growth. Sure, isolations have their place, but build your workout on these pillars. One thing that's giving great results for people is the concept of effective sets. These are the sets that really challenge you, usually the last ones of each exercise. Focus on maximizing these sets. If you're doing 4 sets but only the last one is truly difficult, maybe it's better to do 2 or 3 sets but with a weight that challenges you from the start. And don't forget nutrition, bro. You can have the best workout in the world, but if you don't have enough fuel, you won't grow. Make sure you're eating enough protein and don't neglect carbs. They're essential for giving you energy for the workout and for recovery. Last but not least, listen to your body. Feeling like you need more rest? Rest. Feeling like you can push a little more? Go for it. Over time, you'll develop an incredible intuition about what your body needs. In the end, optimizing your workout for maximum growth is about finding the perfect balance between stimulus and recovery. It's about training hard, but smartly. It's about long-term consistency, not about killing yourself in every session. Remember, the bodybuilding journey is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. If you apply these principles, adapt as your body responds, and maintain consistency, the results will come. So, best steel muscles fam, we've reached the end of this journey of discoveries about training volume and muscle growth. And what a trip, huh? We deconstructed myths, dove into science, and learned how to truly optimize our workouts. What we take away from all this talk is that there's no magic formula that works for everyone. The secret is in understanding your own body, listening to what it's telling you, and adapting your workout accordingly. Remember we talked about quality versus quantity, about the importance of recovery, about how less can be more. Well, these are the keys to unlocking your maximum potential. Don't fall into that trap anymore of thinking that more sets and more time in the gym will automatically give you more results. The key is to train smarter, not necessarily harder. So are you ready to put all this into practice and see your muscles grow like never before? But hold on, before you run off to the gym all excited, I've got a few requests to make. First thing, if this talk helped you, if you learned something new, do this. Smash that like button down below. It helps the channel grow a ton and allows us to keep bringing quality content to you guys. And since you've got your finger on the trigger, why not subscribe to the channel too? It's just one click, and you'll make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming killer videos. Speaking of upcoming videos, check out the other content on the channel. There's a lot of valuable information there that can complement what we discussed today. Now, If you've got any questions, if you have an experience to share, or just want to chat, drop it in the comments. I love interacting with you guys and knowing what you think. Oh, and don't forget to check out the first pinned comment down below. I've put some cool links to products that can give you that extra boost in your fitness journey. These are things I use and recommend myself, so it's definitely worth taking a look. Well, that's it. Best Steel Muscles crew, I hope this video has been a game changer for you. Remember, knowledge is power, but only when put into practice. So, take everything you learned here and apply it to your next workout. I'm sure the results will surprise you. Until next time, and don't forget, here at Best Steel Muscles we don't just lift iron, we elevate knowledge.